Hey there, internets. This is Kyle with another edition of the My Business Launch Secrets YouTube channel. We're on day 103, I believe, of this series, and starting a new online business, going from $0 to $1 million from scratch, doing it part-time because I still got a day job, kids to feed, and bills to pay. So let's move right into it. Today was a little bit of a chill day, I guess. It is not the weekend, but it is a holiday day, and so I was hanging out with the family and doing stuff like that, and also getting ready for tax time and trying to go through the records of not just personal financial records, but the records of the 3 businesses I now have officially formed over the past couple of years. Main focus today was on the rental property business, which is certainly the bulk of the transactions overall. And really two of those 3 companies are really tied to the rental properties. I got one business that actually holds the properties, and then one business that's just a holding company for the rental business. Whatever. Long story why I set all that up in that way. Probably it's really overkill for where I'm at now, but at the time I was setting it up, I thought that was the greatest thing ever, and I was the coolest dude with my entity structure. Now, especially that I've decided I'm going to try to sell the only remaining rental property that I have. A lot of those will be a bit moot, but I don't know, I guess I'll maybe keep them up. Although one of them is a partnership, which requires its own tax return, so that's an extra expense, at least if I keep using an accountant, although I probably don't really need one if I'm not really going to have much transactions. But good to have it open anyway in case whenever, I should not say in case I buy another property. I think it's only a question of when I will buy another property, because again, I'm not really getting out. I'm not selling this property because I'm just doing this, and I don't ever want to own rental property. It's just a matter of, again, various circumstances that I talked about in previous videos in terms of why I'm choosing to make that decision now. Who knows I guess one thing in particular about my real estate investing journey, which is relatively short thus far, but I've always been one that's much more inclined to want to have properties that are local to me that I can work on myself, even though, again, a lot of the guru folks out there will say, oh no, you got to look anywhere and everywhere, wherever the hot deals are. You just got to buy. And, don't worry about all the logistics of owning a property 1,000 miles away and having to find repair people and property managers and, all the other hassles you have to deal with when you're not even there in person, can't go look at it in person, et cetera, et cetera. Whatever. I guess some people are successful in doing that, and, good for them. Me personally, again, I think I provide the most value in me managing it myself, and along with that, doing, a bulk of the kind of more basic repair tasks / lighter renovation sort of tasks that I can just take and, save myself a boatload of money doing that sort of work. And so I say all that just to say that I will keep my eye out in terms of what my local market is doing. I don't think my local market is really going to be going down over this coming year, even though obviously a lot of other areas of the country probably will be going down. And that's just because there's still a lot of demand for the part of the country that I'm in, because this is an area that people are moving to rather than moving from. Generally speaking, it's a place that's generally on these top 10, whatever, up-and-coming areas, cities, smaller, medium-sized cities that whatever magazines say is a good thing. I don't know. But nevertheless, getting back to, having the legal structures in place just helps me to, move a little more quickly if I do decide to acquire property in the future. I'll wait and see. Obviously, I got to file a tax return for 2022, and then I obviously will have to keep everything through 2023. If I assume that I am selling off the property this year, then, I guess we'll just kind of see how things look in 2024 timeframe, which is still a year away. Just kind of reevaluate and assess whether or not it's worth keeping those open or just going ahead and shutting them down. Because I guess, frankly, when I think about it, the process of setting up a new LLC it's actually pretty straightforward. It can be done in a day or 2, depending on what day of the week you're on and when the government wants to record it for you. And then then the third business is the one that I set up a while back ago now, 6 or 8 months ago, I guess, for purposes of this whole online business thing that I'm trying to talk to you about in this series of videos. I think I set it up at the time. I had gone down this rabbit hole of wanting to do lead generation websites. Stupid idea of just creating these fake websites that you then generate leads and then you sell them to some local business actually doing the service that your website talks about. Whatever, tree trimming or dog walking or any other random service. Just create a fake website with a fake business, fake phone number that you can redirect to any other real business's phone number and then you just collect a per call fee or a monthly flat fee, whatever the case is. And that was something I dove into for, I don't know, a month or two, thinking that was going to be the thing for me to do. But after starting to listen to more of like Alex Hormozi and Russell Brunson at that time, quickly realized that that's not really a great business model. I mean, it's fine, and I don't doubt that some people are probably making money. However, a lot of the people that are now selling their coaching services, which I unfortunately dumped a boatload of money on, are guys that made some money doing that like 5 or 6 or 7 years ago under some other guru dude who's apparently kind of started it all, I guess. And I guarantee what has happened, they won't admit this, obviously, but what has happened over the past 5 or 6 years in that field alone, again, coming up with these fake websites, fake, Google business profiles, Yelp profiles, all that business. What's happened is that has worn off in its effectiveness of actually generating quality leads because a couple reasons. Number one, I do think people pay attention to ratings and reviews, and the only way obviously you can get ratings or reviews for fake business is to put up fake reviews, which at one point in time was a little bit easier, but number one, that's just a shitty thing to do, but number two, that used to be easy to actually do, although the Google and the Yelps and the Facebooks have gotten keen to that and have put in place various tactics to remove your ability to make fake reviews, and lots of times they'll just go in and just delete your reviews if they just don't like them. Facebook or Google, they'll just delete them. You don't get a say in it. You can try to fight them, but it's kind of a pointless battle. So anyway, that strategy of generating leads in that way is waning quickly. So all the guys that made a little money in the early days are now saying like, oh, well, wait, I could at least say that I made some money and I'll just sell a big, high ticket coaching program thing to a bunch of, people who don't really know any better. And this is all brand new to, and it'll seem like amazing cheese balls to these losers, but then I can make out like a bandit in terms of raking in the cash and not actually have to do the thing that I'm teaching people how to do anymore, right? And it was kind of funny, being in that whole group. Again, it's not unlike some of the things that I've talked about. CoffeeZilla's channel likes to, try to rip apart, and you get into these groups when you pay for these courses or these online things. And what I paid for was like a course plus, I don't know, like group coaching or something like that. You could call into your Zoom calls every week and get the expert advice, blah, blah, blah. And, basically the bottom line answer anytime somebody asks like, hey, I've been doing everything that you've told me to do in terms of how to set up this website and do the various things. My website isn't getting any traffic. It's not, the whole point of it is like have it, all your SEO stuff in place so you get highly ranked in Google. And people are saying like, hey, I'm not getting ranked on Google, or even people saying, hey, I'm number 1 on Google, but I'm not getting any phone calls from this deal. Like, what's going on? And it's just always, the guys on the other end, there's always some excuse, like either, oh, you just got to give it more time. Don't worry, Google's algorithm, it'll eventually bump you up to the top, or even if you're at the top already, oh yeah, well, that's just because there's some thing in Google's algorithm, it whatever prefers to steer people towards other websites even though they're at the top of the page. But they would just come up with some excuses, just basically saying like, just wait. Just keep it, keep your website up and just give it more time. Just wait it out. And look, this is going to take a while, probably 6 months, a year, whatever. Knowing good and well that like 95% of the people that have signed into this program are not going to wait around for 6 months or a year to see if this thing actually hits. Like, they're just going to give up. They're just going to be like, fuck this. I mean, I dropped a few grand here trying to get this thing up and running. It ain't working. I'm moving on to my next, BS online business thing, right? And so therefore those course creators or coaches never have to actually deal with the true backlash of people realizing that it's all a bunch of, it's not bullshit, but it's not effective anymore. And again, that's why those people are now selling those services or their courses or whatever. And then the crazy thing was, they sell you this course to teach you basically how to make websites, optimize them for SEO and to get traffic in some specific niche. You pick a target city and a target niche of business you want to make a website for. They teach you all, their strategies for how they do that, right? And they teach you, hey, it's really easy to make websites nowadays. You go on, I forget what service they were using, but Wix.com is one, and that wasn't the one they were talking about. But anyway, these easy website builder places you go on and just buy a domain, quick website build. You only need whatever 4, 5, 6 pages, and you're good to go. So they would explain how to do that, but then they'd say, hey, but if you don't have time, or this is still confusing to you, you can just pay us and we'll set them up for you. And then you get to reap the rewards of websites that will start generating leads. And then all you have to do is just go find a friendly local business owner that is looking for more business. And who isn't? Who doesn't want more business? Like, that would be crazy, right? And all you got to do is just tell them, hey, you only want to get paid if they're getting paid, right? If they're making money, then you make money, right? It's an easy pitch. You don't have to be an expert salesperson or anything like that. But again, just pay us, build the websites. And again, I sort of picked this up even when I was talking to the guy that was, pitching me on the whole course, and I told them, like, hey, why aren't you guys, if this is really effective, why aren't you guys just going off and building 1,000 or 1,000,000 websites yourself and just making all your money doing that instead of wasting your time making this course and doing all these coaching calls and all this stuff. And I mean, he just had some excuse of like, well, we could do that, but setting up all these sites really does take some time, and then, you kind of have to wait on them to age a little bit, et cetera. So it was just, I don't know, some lame excuse. But frankly, at the time, I was just maybe not in a great place mentally, and just gave into my desires that I just wanted to do something, and was willing to kind of just try just about anything that made halfway sense to me. So I went ahead and did it, right? But again, the reality is they do that because it's not that profitable anymore. They can guarantee themselves profit by just selling you a website build for whatever it was, $50, $100, because all they are doing is they've got a guy in the Philippines or wherever in the world, whatever, in some low wage country, they got that person over there who's an expert website builder, and they'll pay them $5 to set up a 10-page website, and then they'll charge you $100. Pretty sweet arbitrage there. So anyway, after I dabbled in that a little bit, was trying to sketch out some plans, that's some ideas for websites. Again, just decided that, like, even if I give them the benefit of the doubt that maybe this would be profitable at some point, and sure, maybe it would take a while, but hey, if I could stick with it. If I had to wait 6 months or 9 months or a year, sure, I could wait it out, because I knew that if I guess it was kind of a general rule of thumb that every website you should be able to, quote unquote, like, rent out for on the order of like $500 a month. I mean, some people said they were charging, like $1,000 a month. Kind of depend what the service was that you were talking about, how low or high ticket of a service it is. But rule of thumb, $500 a month. So I was thinking like, $500 a month per website. Okay, so 10 websites would be at $5,000 a month, and 20 websites. What did I just say? 10 websites, so 40 websites, I guess, be $20,000 a month. I was like, whoa, $20,000 a month, like that'd be like crazy cash. And all I have to do is build 40 websites and get them ranked and all this stuff. And you just sketch out, like, takes you whatever, maybe a couple weeks to build a website. Do all your research, all your SEO stuff. A couple weeks to get it set up, and boom, you pump out a couple, and you can probably do it quicker than that. And I was looking even at getting a virtual assistant type of person that I could pay relatively cheaply to go and just start churning these things out relatively rapidly, etc. And yeah, seemed like, oh man, this could be a really profitable business model. But again, I found that's just it's not a sustainable business, because you are taking advantage of I don't know if you want to call it like a loophole or something in the system, where obviously Google does not want a bunch of fake business websites all over their search engine, nor does Yelp want a bunch of fake businesses, any other business directory. They don't want a bunch of fake businesses. Obviously, they want to have real businesses that people are searching for, whatever a painter, Somebody searches for, hey, find a painter near me in Google, right? It's going to show you the maps and show you the top, 5 or 10 painters that are close by you. Obviously, Google doesn't want to show you a fake painting business, and then you're going to call this number and it was like you called this number and it was like Asheville. One that the coaches had was like Asheville Towing Company or something. You call Asheville Towing Company out for a tow. Some guy picks up saying, "Hey, this is Speedy Tow Repair Service or whatever," and they're like, "What the fuck? Like, no, I was looking for Asheville Towing. No, this is like Speedy Tow Repair Company." And you're like, "What? This is stupid." So, and then they might explain that, "Oh yeah, I'm just paying this other company for these leads." But then, if you made that decision to call that number based on these reviews, then you're thinking like, well, so if that company isn't actually real and they're just forwarding all their calls to you, then who are all these reviews from? Like, is it from you, or is it from? Are they just made up? Are they fake reviews? And then like, what do I know about this company that is actually going to do the work for me? Like, I don't know jack shit. So obviously people would get upset about that. I would get upset about that. And so Google doesn't want that. So again, Google has already been doing several things over the course of the year, as I kind of learned about in this group, to specifically target these types of websites. And so again, maybe you could kind of get around, scheme the system a little bit so that Google wouldn't be able to detect you. But I mean, the links that some of these people would go through to mask and disguise what they were doing in terms of even how they set up Google accounts, how they set up their email accounts. Some of them use like aged email accounts, which I didn't even know that was a thing, but apparently people in the Philippines or wherever just generate email addresses willy-nilly, and they just let them sit. They send themselves emails every month, so it becomes quote-unquote aged. And for some of the computer algorithm stuff, I guess that's important in terms of verifying like credibility. And yeah, so anyway, they would go through all sorts of these kind of hoops to be sure that what they were doing was not picked up by the Google scanner bots or whatever. Because, I mean, there's, again, plenty of examples. People would say like, oh, like my Google account just got shut down. Like, what do I do now? Well, did you have all your emails or your business run through that one Google account? Yes. Well, that was your fault. You should have set up a dozen different Google accounts and run all this stuff through different accounts, blah, blah, blah. And then the kicker was buying advertisements to direct people to go to these fake websites. Again, just for the sole purpose of them calling their fake number to connect to a real business, which I thought then that was hilarious then, because again, the whole pitch was that this is like an organic SEO type of business model. Like, you're trying to get your website ranked highly to Google, because naturally people are going to call like the top few businesses when they are looking for something. Again, assuming they have some reviews probably, but even without reviews, sure, some Joe Schmo is just going to Google, I need a tow truck. They're just going to go down the list, 1, 2, 3. Whoever picks up the phone first, that's who they're going to go, because they need a service right then and there. They're not willing to do much research, right, and all that sort of stuff. But again, then you'd have these guys saying, oh, well, actually, it would help if you have some advertisements from Facebook or from Google or whoever directing traffic to your website. Like, that would help. Well, then you're like getting into, now I got to pay for these freaking advertisements. And that's not cheap. So now you go from like, this super highly profitable business model, because all you're doing is like paying like web hosting fees every month, which is like dirt cheap, to now like, oh, you got to dump in thousands of bucks in advertisements potentially to get all these websites kind of ranked. And again, just that whole idea that it's kind of like you're skirting on the edge of like, I mean, sure, you can do all that. There's nothing like illegal, obviously. I mean, it's maybe not even unethical, I guess, but it's just like, that's just not the way the system is supposed to work. And again, me as a consumer, I would be pissed off if I found some freaking fake business, because I personally like to do research on the businesses that I do work with, and I want to believe that the reviews that I'm reading online are legitimate reviews, right? Anyway, it was a long diatribe about my past business model that I never really went with, but I don't even know why I went down that rabbit hole. But on the otherwise, in terms of hanging out with the family and doing financial tax stuff, I've also been going through, I digitized some old videos, and so I was going through and editing those today, which was just kind of fun to sit down and do something fun for once that I didn't have to stress about making money. So that was my day. So I'll leave it there for now. I got to get up at freaking early because I got to go into my damn day job way earlier than I prefer, because my freaking boss thinks that's important. Some meeting that doesn't even matter. But like I said, still got to get paid. So got to pay my dues. Hope you're all doing well. Keep on kicking ass, taking names, and I'll see you next time. Peace.